civil governance.
But you don't have good jobs. How can you?
Your views, your thoughts, your perspective. This is People's Forum.
Thank you for staying here on 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. I'm excited to be here for the midweek edition of People's Forum. Welcome. Today is the 5th of August, 2020. Time in the studio is 5:05 p.m. And for the past 5 Wednesdays, we've been talking about the need to engage the government to hold them accountable, safety measures to be wary of some of the myths out there about COVID-19 and to take seriously the safety measures. A lot of topics have been discussed around COVID-19, following the money, most importantly. So this program has been sponsored for the past 5 Wednesdays, and today connected development with support from Oxfam Nigeria. Via this platform, People's Forum on 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. And today we're going to be talking about the need to combat fake news, disinformation and misinformation. We're going to be discussing combating fake news, disinformation and misinformation. My name is Izzy Naning, alongside my production crew led by OK Odogu, and I have gentlemen here in the studio to talk about this. Dr. Daniel Ugu, the one that follows the money, the Southeast lead, follow the money. Thank you for coming. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Izzy. Thank you, and good evening, our listeners.
How far have you followed the money?
Yeah, we've been on it. We've been following the money. It's not like we're following physical cash.
Okay.
We've been tracking government projects and COVID-19 fundings since the pandemic started.
We also have Kelechi Okechukwu here, public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming. Good evening.
Thank you, Izine. Thank you for having me.
Okay. And Finian.
Yeah.
Finian Ali, thank you for coming. Program Officer, Baywood Foundation. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Izine. It's good to be here. Thank you, dear listeners.
All right. Now that we are combating fake news and disinformation as well as misinformation, we're going to define all of that. Before we get to that point, let me ask Dr. Daniel, what are the major misconceptions that you've heard of when it comes to COVID-19? What are the craziest things you've heard people say about it?
I think some of the crazy things, misinformation I've heard people talk about COVID-19 is, I think the most common is people saying that COVID-19 is fake, COVID-19 is scam, it's not real. Forget all of those things. That someone somewhere is just programming the whole world, the remote controlling us, that this thing does not exist. So I think that one is actually the crazy, and a lot of people actually believe that COVID-19 is not real, and you can see that in the attitude of the people, because they seem to care less about protecting themselves or even protecting others. Then another one is the news around what is actually the possible cure for COVID-19, whether COVID-19 has a cure or not. I remember earlier when the pandemic actually started, there was this debate around whether chloroquine is actually a cure or not, which the US president actually tweeted about, and a lot of people began to now rush, begin to do panic buying around chloroquine.
Well, we are facing that again.
Yeah, and some people went ahead.
A video that went viral for the past 1 week now or more.
Yes. And in fact, there was something I saw on the internet, a packet of whether 500 milligram of chloroquine, 50,000 naira. Like, in a supermarket, maybe pharmacy. You can imagine that chloroquine that before now sells for maybe 500 or 100 or 1,000, as the case may be. The price has actually increased, but maybe because people actually maybe doing panic buying, stockpiling chloroquine in their homes because they heard is a possible cure for COVID-19. And another danger to that is that some people even without feeling sick are actually taking hydrochloroquine, which is meant for treatment of malaria or autoimmune diseases. They are now taking it even when they are not sick, because maybe there are news out there that it cures COVID-19.
Kelechi, what are the things you've heard?
About it.
Yeah, thank you, Ezinne. Thank you so much. I think one of the craziest ones is that coronavirus is caused by 5G technology. That one was, I mean, when I heard it, it was mind-blowing. Couldn't just imagine. And then, like doctor said, some of the spin, because we are discussing misinformation, some of the spin we've heard around the cure, people, all kinds of things. If you take alcohol, since they say alcohol-based hand sanitizer can kill the germs on your hand, then so if you drink the alcohol, it will now kill the virus.
That's quite some logic.
Yes, that's what most people. But again, even though yes, we know that alcohol at a certain concentration can kill the virus, but if you take that level of concentration into your system, it will burn your mouth and burn your throat. So in India, 700 persons died recently from ingesting large amounts of alcohol. Nana Chokyo coronavirus. So there's just so many spin and information going around this.
Well, Finian, what have you heard?
It's very funny.
Okay.
I think by the time the COVID-19 started in Africa, we got the first case in February in Egypt, and then subsequently, the African man and then the Nigerian man felt like this can't happen in our country. We have strong genes. It's not only that we have strong genes, and in fact that our temperature, the climate, it's amazing. We have hot sun. So there is no way this is going to penetrate us, So but the reality now is that we have all those things, yes. But coronavirus is not a disease that is consequent to all those myths that has been flying around. So people had believed that due to the climate change that we have in Nigeria, and that we can't have coronavirus. But the reality now tells otherwise.
Okay, now talking about if or the fact, or answering the question of if it's existing, if you look at what Nigeria Center for Disease Control has released, the figures released as of yesterday, 44,433 confirmed cases in Nigeria, 31,851 discharged cases, 910 deaths, and of course samples tested 304,221 as of yesterday, 4th of August 2020. Let's go to let's get to defining misinformation, disinformation, false news or fake news.
I think when we say that a news is fake, meaning that the information that someone is actually putting out there possibly could have come from a figment of their imagination. People can just sit down and begin to construct what does not exist, something that has not been verified, whether by science or by authorities, and they could just come up with certain maybe logic, as you said, or certain ideas in their head, and begin to now pass it across different platforms as maybe authentic information, and that is actually fake news. I'll call that to be fake news, because something which is not coming from the right sources, but it's coming from maybe individuals with intention, some people do it in order to either create panic, some people do it in order to, maybe if it's someone who is a blogger, maybe to drive traffic to his blog or to his handle or whatever, for whatever reason, and also disinformation could also come from maybe people just conspiring, what we call conspiracy theories. People just begin to sit down and begin to look at this whole COVID-19 to mean what it is not. Especially, I remember when the issue of 5G came up, and somebody said, the whole theory around that, when you listen to it, even you with all your education, we begin to say, are you sure there is There is nothing. There is not. Maybe there could be something else we don't know about 5G technologies or innovation that possibly could. Because even we as a biochemist, it was actually very disturbing. That maybe radioactive waves, electromagnetic waves, can actually cause a viral infection, except if it's not a viral infection in the body. It didn't make any sense. But you could see that someone who is actually very prominent, well respected by people, came up with a lot of theories around that, whether spiritual, whether church, whether they just came up with something, and people began to believe that, and it's not true. That, for me, that could be, I call it misinformation. You are misinforming the public, because that is not the correct information as far as coronavirus is concerned, its causes is concerned, or its spread is concerned. So
Kelechi, differentiate between disinformation and misinformation.
Yeah, okay. So misinformation is inaccurate or false information, like we've described. Now, but if it's now disinformation, you know that somebody is doing that deliberately.
Okay.
So misinformation. So disinformation is a subset of misinformation. The difference is that for disinformation, somebody is pushing an agenda deliberately. So the person is actively spreading false and incorrect information to achieve a certain objective. So and again, when you look at the drivers of this misinformation and disinformation, what is causing it? So there are about like two broad categories of the causes. Number one, when something that we cannot understand happens, people want to get a bit of control. And one way to get that control is to make sense of it, to explain what is happening, to give you some sense of reassurance. So some people now say, in trying to give people a sense of reassurance or control, now say, okay, this thing, if you just put hot water, drink hot water, you are fine.
I also heard about lemon, ginger.
Like Finian said. So Finian mentioned, I think you were talking about
the climate.
The
sun,
the weather.
We had that at the outset of this pandemic. So people just wanted to spread information to make people calm and to get people to say, okay, we have this under control. People are dying, but we're not going to die. So that sense of security. Number two is, now when people have certain agendas, they want to push it. It could be well, we have a lot of conspiracy theories in life. So some people probably decided that, okay, if we spread bad information, maybe somebody wants to sell a product, so okay, let's use chloroquine. A big pharmaceutical lobby group wants to sell chloroquine, and then they push it. Chloroquine kills this. They want to make money. So that's the way I look at this. So disinformation, spread false information with a motive. Misinformation is just false or inaccurate information.
Okay, Finian, why do you think we have misinformation, disinformation thriving with this pandemic, coronavirus?
For me, I think this has been a lot on the mindset, and this is thriving because this is a novel disease. We've not known about coronavirus, COVID-19 particularly before. We've had different forms of it earlier, but when this came, it came with a lot of panic, and then because of the symptoms and the way the disease affect people, there were a lot of interest. So many people were eager to know what this is all about. So, and because we have a very porous social media system, a lot of bloggers and maybe people who want to take advantage of that, leverage on that to maybe gain traffic, like what Doctor said, now reconsider that this could be a fantastic platform opportunity to actually strive. And it has actually affected us so badly because most of the citizens have followed this fake news and arrived at a point where there was no return. You can take an instance where somebody tells you that, don't mind those figures that the NCDC are releasing, that this is nothing. In fact, there was a time they say somebody ran out of COVID-19 isolation center, and then the person is seen around somewhere in Ogun State, and for the past 6 months is surviving fine, nothing is happening. Those kind of things, they look so convincing, but the reality is that those things are false news. So the misinformation thrives because the society are uninformed. That is one thing. And because you are uninformed, the only information that gets to you, you get to adapt to it and you get to buy into it.
You said uninformed, but we have lots of media houses, lots of jingles going out of these media houses, or people hear them whether in Igbo or or Pidgin English, different languages, just to pass the message. Even some are dramatized. A lot of information have been pushed. Even NCDC sends messages. I know you've been getting messages. So we're going to find out why it's thriving the more, and most importantly, give the right information. Now that we have talked about the dangers of disinformation, misinformation, and of course fake news, that's what we're trying to combat with this program. Stay with us on People's Forum 92.5 Enugu Stream FM.
Many things they happen, oh. If you don't know, you go judge the suffer. Many things they happen, oh. If you don't know, you go judge the cry. Some community they don't get the water, oh. Some community they don't get the school, oh. Some community don't marry. And that is why we we follow the money. That is why we we follow the money. Join us now, making us. Make we follow the money. Join us now, making us. Make we follow the money. Oh yeah. Follow the money. Follow the money.
What is it with our politicians today? Nobody is making any sense.
Now only politicians, even we never show up this morning.
But you don't have good jobs. How can you?
Your views, your thoughts, your perspective. This is People's Forum.
Thank you for staying with us on People's Forum. It's 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. So on the program, we are combating fake news, disinformation, misinformation. And before we went on the break, just like Mr. Kelechi Okechukwu rightly defined, the difference between misinformation and disinformation is in the deliberateness. Somebody just deliberately sits down. That's with disinformation now. Someone deliberately sits down and cooks up something to achieve a mischievous end, right? And then misinformation, somebody could have a good intention, but now the inappropriateness of putting out the information makes it not to be completely true. Okay, so before we went on the break, we had Dr. Daniel Ugu, Southeast Lead, Follow the Money, Talk, and Finian Ali also here, Program Officer, Baywood Foundation. Kelechi Okechukwu is here, Public Affairs Analyst. Before we went on the break, Dr. Daniel Ugu, you wanted to add to why we have disinformation and misinformation thriving with this COVID-19.
Actually, what I wanted to say was that I think part of the reason why misinformation and disinformation and fake news is also thriving is because I think the citizens, there's this lack of trust from the citizens, and when it comes to trusting government, in anything government is involved in, they just don't trust.
Who is government?
Government is the people leading us, the agencies responsible for delivering public service to people, because of, maybe I don't know whether it's because of the issue of corruption, the corruption perception that Nigeria has about governance and politics and leadership and how the country is being run. I think that's why anything that the government is actually in charge handling, and maybe when they give out information, people just believe that there's something else. This thing is not real. There is somebody that is trying to profit from this thing. They are just scamming us. They are just using this thing as an opportunity to make money. Forget this thing. There is somebody that has created a business out of this thing, and that's why they are still telling us COVID-19. Forget those figures NCDC is bringing up. Those figures are cooked up. They just sit somewhere and begin to tell us what figure they are going to release. But that thing is not real, because people don't trust. And you see a lot of people buying into that idea because for a long time, possibly they believe that their government has not been telling them the truth. That's one factor that is driving that, or encouraging people, going, spreading misinformation, and misinformation in this case, and fake news. And another one I feel also that is a major driver is this lack of two-way communication. For instance, the NCDC is passing across messages through text messages. They will send it to you, but you can ask them question. You cannot reply. For instance, they send you a text. You as a citizen cannot reply that text because it's a one-way traffic. They are just passing an information across to you. Even when they tweet on their Twitter handles and all of that, even if you want to ask questions, they don't seem to reply or respond, maybe because they believe either you're supposed to go and read up on their website. But how many people actually have that patience to go and start maybe reading up whatever thing you have on your website and all of that? So I think there is need for two-way communication. Possibly the government has this National Orientation Agency, which should be the responsible for passing this kind of. They should be more proactive in a period like this, where they have more interactive forums.
We've also heard about the challenge they are having, which is majorly funding.
And actually that is also where the problem is, because government is actually this is the time to fund the right organizations and agencies that can take this information to the people two-way. So that as they are listening now, we're currently having a call-in program. People can call in, ask questions, and experts in that program can be able to give them the correct answers, because people have questions in their mind going on. They have read things on WhatsApp, they have read things on social media, and they don't know if it is true, but they don't know who is the right person I could ask. The way you have such avenues where you pass an information across to the people and they have a chance to ask you questions for you to answer, and it should be regular, and maybe this thing should be decentralized to even at community levels or local government levels or whatever, where the town hall meetings, to pass the right information to people so that people can be able to arm themselves with the accurate information, and we begin to get the right attitude and right response.
All right, Kelechi, how else can we combat misinformation or disinformation?
Thank you so much, Ezine. In addition to what Dr. Dan has said, I would like to commend the NCDC, for instance, and the PTF, the task force on. They've tried with the way they've been trying to disseminate information. I mean, the one way the broadcast messages NCDC gives out, you could see that sometimes they respond to burning issues that happen. So if a misinformation happens now and it's gaining currency, you would notice that when they send out their broadcast messages, it will probably be responding to
rumors
trending at the time. So that is so to that extent. And then the daily briefings we get from the PTF, and then if you go to the NCDC website, you see some infographics. Governments have also come up with all kinds of IEC materials on COVID-19. Now, in addition to the government's effort, I always say that governance is a partnership thing. Now, a lot of bloggers, private individuals who have access to social media, who are influential on social media, I mean, they could actually use their platforms to spread credible information. So it's not just the government's responsibility. We as citizens should also be active citizens, especially in trying to make sure that any information we give out on the channels we are responsible for, let's make sure those information are credible and that we draw them from credible sources. The NCDC is maybe one of the most credible in Nigeria. We have the WHO and many other sites that experts have peer reviewed, and we take that they are giving us credible information. So one other way, in addition to the government effort, is to get as citizens to use our own social media handles or whatever information spaces we have to spread credible, verified information.
All right, Finian.
Yes. Okay, one or two additions. First, I agree with the first point that Dr. Dan made when he said something about being proactive, government institution being proactive, because there is one very porous pathway that misinformation has actually tried very recently, and that is that people tell you, have you heard of anybody who is coronavirus positive?
Or have you seen anybody?
Have you seen anybody? So this kind of information, this kind of quest to know, in one way or the other, try to spur somebody believing in fake news or even spreading misinformation. So what has government done to begin to address such concerns in a way that will be understandable to the citizens? We know that, of course, they should not, by law, disclose the identity of the patient because of what you have to, privacy and all sorts. But have you been able to tell the citizen that this is why we cannot do this, and this is what is expected, it's also obtainable? That has not been done so often, and people are eagerly wanting to know. So they need to be more proactive, address issues like this, subsequently forthwith. Then another thing I also think would be very much useful in fighting misinformation is that, one of the easiest way these things try is through social media. Talk about Facebook, talk about Twitter, talk about Instagram, and also. Now, government agencies should begin to reconsider partnering with all these social media platforms, so that when we identify a fake news, for instance, this social media handle can pull down the post, one, or even try to confiscate or maybe hold up the person's profile and mute the person from communicating further hours. Because if you know that if you send something that is fake, something misleading the public that this is going to happen to you, then you want to post right things. And that is very, very important, because you can take instance of all this on so many popular celebrities. There is one, I think Bizzo, somebody with an entertainment consultant. There was a time she did a post on Twitter, also put a doctored picture of a media agency broadcasting that even cocaine is a cure for coronavirus. Those kind of things. Then afterwards, subsequently, she pulled it down. Now, if you look at those kind of scenarios, it's something that borders. What are we doing to ensure that on this platform where they are actually leveraging to spread this news, we are also actively engaging and checkmating? If anything goes wrong, somebody is this is wrong, and the person absorbs it.
Okay, you're listening to People's Forum on 92.5 Enugu Stream FM. Lend your voice to the topic of discussion. How can we combat the spread of fake news with this coronavirus pandemic? Join the conversation. This program is brought to you by Connected Development with support from Oxfam, Nigeria. Stay with us.
Many things they happen, if you don't know, you go just be suffer. Many things they happen, if you don't know, you go just be cry. Some community they don't get the water. Some community they don't get the school. Some community they don't marry. And that is why we forgot we can follow the money. That is why we forgot we can follow the money. Join us now, making us make me follow the money. Join us now, making us make me follow the money. Oh yeah. Follow the money. Follow mommy, follow the money. Follow everybody, follow the money.
What is it with our politicians today? Nobody is making any sense.
Now only politicians, even we never show us this money.
But you don't have good jobs. How can you?
Your views, your thoughts, your perspective. This is People's Forum.
Thank you for staying with us on People's Forum. It's 92.5 in Nugu's Dream FM. We've been talking about how to combat fake news, whether misinformation or disinformation on the program. Time in the studio is 5:34 p.m. Now it's time for you to call in 0809 8888 925 or 0902 0020 So far, it's been said by the gentleman in the studio that yes, the government has its role to play, but you also, as a citizen, would also do yours. What do you do with your social media platforms? Do you spread credible information or do you spread fake news? Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Welcome. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
My name is Comrade Marcel Menechi. Good evening to all of you there. Inya, how are you? Please, I want to say something. Like what the guys have said, this is where we have found ourselves. Most of the things they marshal out in that studio are exactly what is happening during this period. Now, let me start with what the government are doing on their own side. I don't think government are doing enough as regards to this particular virus. We have not witnessed this before, but we have not even tried to do the needful. Though they are doing something, but it's not enough. First of all, what the NCDC, what they used to send to Nigeria, at times they begin to, I don't know whether they are lying or telling us the truth. They will tell us they use how many millions in sending such text messages. Is it workable in a country whereby a government can meet such the telecommunication company in Nigeria and tell them to partner with them, and they are giving us a fake figure? In the other way around, people are also saying in their neighborhood, in their various neighborhood, they have not seen anybody. In television, if they want to show us people that are suffering of this particular problem, they will bring foreigners. They have never brought anybody. They used to see empty hospital, empty beds. So what do you want the people to believe? So it's a problem in this country whereby those that have contracted this particular virus are politicians alone. And they will get the virus. In 6 days, they will tell you they are negative. In Southwest, one governor said he contracted it in 6 days. He said it's negative. Is it possible? It's real. But I think our government are politicizing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Marcel Enechi. Let's remind you that we are streaming live on Facebook. 925 Dream FM is a TriCast. Facebook is 925 Dream FM, the Twitter handle at Dream925FM. And on YouTube, find us there. That is Dream TV Enugu. Click on the notification button after you must have subscribed so that you can watch us live on YouTube. 0809 8888 on the Facebook page 925 Dream FM. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome. What's your name, sir?
My name is Kirian, and I'm calling from Oka.
Welcome, Kirian.
Yeah, you see, the solution to fake news is providing the right news. You understand? If people know the right way to go, I don't think they want to start formulating that news. They will just stick to what they know. Now, there are so many confusion about this coronavirus thing. They told us that they treat symptoms, and after they treat symptoms, people now be tested negative. So, some other things that we hear that they are not really clear, you know. So they should be giving us the right information, and then there will be able for people to formulate other news. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kirian. Hello, good evening. 0809 8888 On the Facebook live stream, we have Okepo Lokbara. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. He said the rate of fake news on COVID-19 pandemic can be described or can be attributed to or described as the more you hear, the less you see. Okay, what is a jail term or punishment for spreading fake news? Well, according to the recent, the revised NBC code, 5 million naira Yes, that's why we have to be careful, especially for the media houses. Ohane Paul talked about, he said, what about hate policy and hate actions? Obonna Madu Abuchi promises, or there are people that give fake news more than the government and radio stations. Before they will give the news, they will edit it the way it will suit them. Seni Ahmed said, good evening. Thank you for joining us from Osun State. David Ozioko, good evening, said the government has tried to make the people believe that COVID-19 is real, and I believe it is real, but some actions and insinuation of the government is not making us to believe that. The government is yet to tell us what they are using to cure those being freed on daily basis. Now, today they reported that over 11,000 have recovered. How? I mean, how possible from less than 400 to 11,000? Okay. Ugubandu BC, thank you for joining us on the Facebook. Nedi Nora Ugu said, until we begin to adopt the approach we used during Ebola outbreak, then we won't get anywhere with the fight against COVID-19. Marcel Enechi, thank you. You already called us. All right. On the WhatsApp line, 0902 002095. Uwanyi Valentine Chijoke from Onsuka. Good evening. He said, fake news is bad as it threatens the nation's unity and passing misinformation in the society. It cripples the society, he said, right? And for me, COVID-19 is real, but it seems like government is hyping the figures, which is bad, right? He said, because it may cause phobia that may lead to people even dying before the coronavirus gets to them or before they contract it. Government said there is no cure for the virus, but they keep on telling us the number of people that have been cured are getting higher. My question is, how did they recover while there is no cure for it? Okay. Hello, good evening. 0809888925 or 0902002095. Good evening.
Hello.
Welcome. What's your name, sir?
I have to commend their girls. They have elaborated much. My own take is that Nigerian citizens need more enlightenment about this fake news. Not only being on air, but what of those are in rural areas and other places. Because this fake news we are talking about emanated from those who are equally being enlightened, especially the media and other people. And when once somebody is not educated, maybe you drop a fake news to him, the person will carry it along. And that is where we are finding it difficult. So for the file they are placing on fake news, my brother, majority of the maybe those at the helm of the affair, they are the people that will pay it. Because they will fall the victim without even knowing. So that is my thing. Thank you, God bless you.
Thank you for your call, David Henry from Oheza. Hello, good evening. Yes, you need to be more audible so we can hear you. What's your name, sir?
My name is One West, popular known as DJ.
Ekene, welcome. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from a Bonny State.
Go ahead.
I want to say that the coronavirus is real. And the fake news is real also. But our leaders are the ones carrying the fake news. They are not telling us the truth. A situation whereby in the foreign country where the virus first originated, they are properly taking care of their citizens. In Nigeria here, we only hear about audio palliative on the radio. In a state where I came from, they give a palliative to the commissioners and other political appointees in millions. While the indigent people, the vulnerable people there in the rural area, we are shared the packet of tomato and the packet of rice.
Were you there? How did you get this information?
I am from a Bonny State. So I don't understand why our leaders are not helping us. They are the people that are pushing us to lie. Concerning the issue of fake news, our leaders are to be very responsible before the rural people. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you for your contribution. So back here in the studio, gentlemen, let's talk about most of the issues raised and most importantly, give the right information. Yes, for these misconceptions flying around, we need to address them properly. For hydroxychloroquine to whether it's real or not, what is really coronavirus, and what people should do to keep safe this period. Let's begin with you, Dr. Daniel Ugu.
Okay. The case of hydrochloroquine, as far as the World Health Organization is concerned, I know that when that issue came up, they said from the data they have at the moment, hydrochloroquine has not been found to be a cure for coronavirus. However, chloroquine or hydrochloroquine can be used to treat malaria and autoimmune diseases. Okay, so but not for COVID-19. So for those of them who are laying claims that they have used chloroquine to treat people who had COVID-19, that news, that information has not been verified scientifically as of now and certified by the World Health Organization. According to the World Health Organization. So, and it's not advisable because I also read that some people even got themselves overdosed with chloroquine, and it resulted to about 3 deaths in Lagos at the earlier part of the COVID-19 pandemic, because we shouldn't be taking any drug without doctor's prescription. That's why when you realize that you are not feeling well, the first line of call is to reach out to a health professional and explain what the situation is, and they'll be able to direct you appropriately on what to do. And also, if there is need for medication, the doctors will also be the ones to recommend the appropriate drugs or medicines for you to use. And our people are so good at self-medicating. And maybe because they heard that COVID-19, some of them already know some of the symptoms. And it doesn't mean that when you begin to experience these symptoms that you have COVID-19. You must have to go for a test, because some people now, maybe they are having fever, or they are having dry cough, or they are sneezing, or you understand, and because of that they now feel like, I think I'm having COVID-19, and before you know it, they are going for
sore throat is part of it.
Sore throat. And maybe when they begin to see some of those symptoms, in their mind they may begin to have fears and suspect that they have COVID-19, and before you know it, they are moving over to one patent medicine dealer somewhere and begin to look for chloroquine. But the right thing to do is to meet a health professional, and the person will be able to know what is the appropriate thing. You have to go for tests, even if they are suspecting COVID. I'm sure that may not be the first thing they will suspect, but if they are suspecting something like COVID-19, they know what to do. They will direct you to the appropriate places where you get tested, and only when you are tested before you can say you have COVID-19 and you can be treated for it.
Kelechi.
Yes, so I align myself very much with what Dr. Dan had already said. The guidance on what to do, it's very, very replete on the NCDC website. I think that at least more than half of Nigerians, if not more, have a fair idea of what to do, how to address if you feel you have any symptoms of COVID-19. I think that most Nigerians already have a fair idea of what to do. But again, if you notice the trend, the theme that is very prevalent in the feedback we got from listeners, it points to what Dr. Dan said earlier, a declining trust in government. I mean, so everybody is hammering government. So it means that even that perception or that declining trust in government will even affect people's adherence to the NCDC guidelines on what to do. So you see people, they know it. NCDC has said this, but because someone they trust, and because they don't even trust NCDC, they'll probably go ahead to do self-medication. Or trust more than what the NCD is saying. So there is actually a lot of work to be done by, I don't like putting all the entire responsibility on government, but government has quite a chunk of work to do to beef up confidence, this confidence, in what they do.
And one way to actually beef up citizens' confidence is being open.
Very, very.
Let information flow. Let the people know that you are transparent. You are honest enough. You are not hiding anything. You know, and they will believe you.
One of the things that were pointed out, or one of the things pointed out that people hold very dear with this coronavirus is the drinking of alcohol. So we need to address that as well. Finian.
The drinking of alcohol it's a myth, of course, because it's not substantiated that when you take alcohol, now of course coronavirus gets off your body system. And then we should not also exonerate the fact that anything you take in and you take in excess could also be very, very damaging to your body system. And don't overload your enzymes. You know, the alcohol originaries are actively working to help you metabolize the alcohol. So the major point still remains that we have a problem. Let us not believe in fake news. And then as much as possible, the institution should give credible and accurate information. There are some time that NCDC will make a post and would apologize for mistakes. That we said it was 4, sorry it is 1. Well, we repeated the test. You know, this kind of thing doesn't show institutional accuracy. So we are expecting institutions like NCDC to be, as much as possible, when needed in such a time like this, to be very accurate in their reportage. So,
and isn't concerning the alcohol myth, because I'm also beginning to think, why would people think that taking alcohol would cure COVID-19? COVID-19 being a virus. Possibly it could also be because they say sanitize your hands with an alcohol-based sanitizer. You know that alcohols are generally disinfectant, you know, and maybe antimicrobial in nature. Yes, on non-living surfaces, you can use alcohol to kill germs, wipe away germs. They can kill germs. But in a living cell, alcohol will undertake a different pathway and function. And at very high dosage or level or concentration, they can actually be damaging to your system, to your body organs, because as you're taking the alcohol, the body will be fighting to detoxify, you know, the overload you are putting in it, and before you know it, you're overworking your organs, and before you know it, it can lead to organ damage and damage to your system. So the function of alcohol on non-living surfaces and in living cells are entirely two different pathways. So people should not use the logic of, because alcohol, they ask you to use maybe ethanol or alcohol-based whatever to clean surfaces and wash your hands or sanitize your hands, and then it will still have the same effect in your body. No.
All right. 0809 888 or 0902 20925. On the Facebook live stream, Omagan Namani said, okay, he said fake news it has done more harm than good in checkmating or addressing fake news. All hands should be on deck. Government should try to be proactive and responsive. Otika the flutist, Otike Buka from Oka. I think the leaders are not telling us the truth. Remember the governor that immediately got healed once his deputy was asked to replace him. If they start telling us the truth, then people will in turn start saying the truth. Things are different when it comes to Nigeria in particular. All right. In another news, is it crime to peacefully protest in Nigeria? Not that I'm aware of, but that's a topic for another day's discussion. Thank you. Ejim Favor Chris Albert said, good evening. Our government is not sincere in everything. Well, if you say everything, that's quite some generalization about COVID-19. Anybody that relied on what the government is saying is making a fool of him or herself. NCDC, should do better. I bet that's what you wanted to say. Gentlemen, we are rounding off. So it's been established. I think even the story about 5G has died down to a great extent. So we know, according to WHO, 5G has no business with COVID-19. So that has been put to rest. As we round off, Dr. Daniel.
Yeah, as we round off, I think I just want to tell people that before you pass any information concerning COVID-19, make sure you cross-check. Cross-check, because a lot of information fly around social media, WhatsApp, people share all kinds of things. Before you retweet, before you post, before you repost, before you share on WhatsApp, make sure you cross-check that information you're passing across. Don't be a party to aiding misinformation and also disinformation by some people. And know that coronavirus is actually real, and it is not a scam. And I also want to encourage our listeners, part of what we're also doing is to hold government accountable, to insist that they become transparent and accountable to the people. And you can actually join us on the Follow the Money platform, to become one of those champions demanding transparency and accountability from the government. You can just go and sign up at www.ifollowthemoney.org, and also, connect with us on our social media handles on Twitter at Follow the Money. Or you can also connect to us at Connected Development, and we'll actually help you to amplify whatever concerns that you have around what the government is doing.
Okay.
In your area.
All right, Kelechi.
Yeah. This virus is called novel. Novel meaning audioful. So even the authorities we expect to give us just-in-time credible information are still working hard to understand the virus. Organizations are spending quite substantial resources to understand this virus. So please, like Dr. Dan said, let us always share verified information. It's very, very important. Let us be partners in progress, with the government. Let us spread verified information. Fake news, misinformation, disinformation can kill. If you spread false information, someone close to you can act on that information and get really hot.
All right. Finian.
Yeah. So I would say, dear listeners, we are in a trying time, and a lot of things are going on. We just need to be more careful about what we say and what we do. In as long as we continue to spread fake news, we are causing pandemic upon pandemic. And this is very
and we don't want double wahala.
We don't want double wahala.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on People's Forum. And a lot of people still talk about what the mode of transmission of COVID-19. Well, primarily it is passed or transmitted through droplets generated when an infected person coughs or sneezes or speaks, which is why you should wear your face mask when going out. Even if you have a face shield, you should still wear a face mask as recommended by NCDC. You should also maintain physical distancing at least 1 meter. But most importantly, you can do 2 meters or more. Wash your hands regularly. And thank you for joining us. Most importantly, keep following the money.
Keep following the money.
I'm talking to you now, Dr. Daniel. Thank you for coming on People's Forum. Southeast Lead, Follow the Money. Finian Ali, Program Officer, Baywood Foundation. Kelechi Okechukwu, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, Ezinde.
A big thank you to my production crew led by OK Odogu and Alex Obodo for making sure we stream live on Facebook. 925 Dream FM, Twitter at Dream 925 FM. Go to YouTube. Click on the notification button. First of all, subscribe. That's Dream TV Enugu. Subscribe and click on the notification button. You'll always watch our videos there. And stay tuned for Sports Yarn with Frankie and Godwin on 92.5 Enugu Dream FM. Tomorrow, Deborah Mba will be here for People's Forum 5 p.m. Keep a date.
This is to all the